Okay, great. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Studio City Neighborhood Council Homelessness Committee. My name is Luis Soliard, your chair, and we want to get a call to order here and do roll call. Jeffrey, are you here?
Here. Good
Julie?
evening.
Julie?
Here.
Great. Marcia?
Here.
Great. Sandy? I spoke to Sandy earlier and she said she'd be here. That's a good question. Savannah will not be here and I am here, so of 6, we have a quorum. And just look out for Sandy to join us. And I need to get approval of the minutes. Jeff, remind me of my tech. Am I motioning to get the approval for the minutes?
Yeah, you're moving to approve the minutes. I'll second it.
Okay. Marcia and Julie, aye for approval or thumbs down for negative?
Aye.
Okay, that's approval for the minutes. Great. And we're moving right to public comments, 1-minute public comments on non-agenda items. Okay, and Brandon?
Yeah, I fear I'm about to steal Kira's thunder, but I'll do it anyways. I don't know if you're going to be talking about this with your chair comments, but I just got an email today from Nithya Raman's office stating that she launched a Valley-specific homeless team with a focus on Ventura Boulevard, and I just want to know that if you're, during your comments, if you can speak a little bit if you've reached out to the CD4 team and if you're going to be inviting them to homeless committee meetings in the future. Thank you.
All right. Kira? There you
Hey, everybody.
Hi.
Just some quick updates. So we used to call it Homeless Connect Day. Nithya now calls it Neighborhood Support Day. Unfortunately, we had to postpone because of Omicron. So we're hoping to do that next month in March. Hope you'll all volunteer. You can find out about that through Nithya's newsletter or just keep touch with Walker. Sadly, all PRK sites and all of the Hope Valley sites are still under quarantine, so they cannot take any new people. There are zero available beds. When those beds do open up, you can expect for every 1 bed available, there's at least 300 people waiting. Also, sadly, the Highland Gardens service provider was a disaster, so that's why you see everyone back at Coldwater. Definitely want to touch base with Hayes on that one. Also, we have a new problem where service providers from other areas are now dumping people into CD4 and CD2, which I think may actually be illegal, but don't quote me on that. And then just lastly, we had a great conversation with Sean Smith about, how important it is to give the community, the public, the correct information and tell the truth. So I did encourage him to please come to Studio City Neighborhood Council meetings and make sure that everyone is getting the correct information, as it is not helpful to spread bad information. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Right at a minute. Thanks. I don't see any other hands. Anybody for public comment on non-agenda items? Let me go to. Got a lot of participants, but nobody wants to please make public comment. Patrick, go ahead.
I just wanted to touch base about Fruitland encampment over here. I know everybody's been working to try and help, and there's limitations about what can be done and what's available to help. But I just want to be on record that, today in particular, that there was clear gang members utilizing the encampment as a cover to sell drugs. It's one thing to have homeless people that are utilizing meth. It's another thing to have gang members come in and utilize those drug addicted persons and use that as a cover to not only sell to those people, but also use it to sell to others. So we're having difficulty with this over here, and we really want everything that the Studio City can do in its power. And obviously I know Nithya is really the person who needs to get brought on board with this, but we really want anybody and everything that can be done to help alleviate this issue.
Stop. Is that it, Patrick?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Public comment, anyone? By the way, Sandy is joined us, so that's 5 of our 6.
There is a call-in user.
Yeah, I'm gonna get that. I just
Okay,
wanted
great.
to note Sandy had checked in. Okay, and is in attendance. And call-in user 1, I'm trying to unmute you. Give me a second. Go ahead, sir, or ma'am, I'm sorry.
Hi, this is Ruth.
Hi, Ruth.
Hi there. I wanted to comment about housing vouchers. I know several unhoused people here that either are in possession of a housing choice, a Section 8 of VASH, or an emergency housing voucher or a rapid rehousing voucher. And I know there's a lot of other people that are eligible for one or on a waiting list for one. And the people that I know that have them cannot find a single place in Studio City, Sherman Oaks, and the whole area that will accept it. So if anyone has information, I can pass it along to people so that they can redeem those vouchers. But for now, in the meantime, it's people who have these units that are otherwise affordable, but choosing to keep them vacant or put them on Airbnb instead of renting them out to voucher holders. That's causing people not to be able to move on from their homelessness. Thank you.
Thank you. And anybody else for public comment? Julie, do you see anybody? Jeff, do you see anybody? Hi, Karen, hold on.
Hi, hello, can you hear
Hi,
me?
Karen, go ahead.
Hi, I'm sorry, I missed Patrick's question. I'm sure it was along the lines of my same concerns. Did he ask if there were any updates, if anyone knows if anything's gonna happen? They keep telling us that the care team is gonna come clean up. And so far it's just getting worse. So I was just wondering if any of you had any updates.
Is that it, Karen?
Yeah,
Okay, I'll be giving a full report momentarily, okay?
okay, great.
All right. Call-in user number 1, we already did that. Anybody else? Got a full house and very little public comment. Come on, everyone. You see anybody, Jeff? I don't want to miss anybody. Oh, there's Ira. Sorry, Ira. Goodness gracious, a board member. Goodness gracious, I'm messing up. Okay.
No,
Sorry about that.
I just put my hand up just now. We're all
okay.
good. Luis, hey, I just wanted to say again, phenomenal job on these reports. I greatly appreciate reading those, and I feel you're doing a really great job. And I think I just wanted to put that out there. So thank you for keeping me up in the loop.
You're welcome. Okay. Anyone else? All right, I'm going to go ahead and move to the next order of business. Oh, it's my update. Okay, everyone. Since August, I've been going out, which I was doing prior to holding this position, into the encampments. I go out at least once a week, if not twice a week, and visit with the residents in the encampments and the residents around the encampments and the businesses, and basically meet with anybody who's willing to talk and needs help or wants to help. And through that, I basically do, since I've been in the area for about 20 years, working with homeless people since my early days with the pantry and the human needs ministry out of my church. I go and basically through critical evaluation, I try to give my committee weekly as good a representation of what's happening on the streets as I can. And through that presentation to my committee, we make the best recommendations we can to the board itself so that they can make the best, we can create the best legislation that we can to go ahead and forward to the city council and make the best impact to Studio City and the surrounding areas. So that's just been a general policy. The homeless count will be February 22nd. That's close to my heart. When I was a pantry director, I was involved in the very first homeless census count when they reinstated that. So it's been about 8 years or so. So that'll be happening here for Studio City at my church at First Christian Church of North Hollywood in the social hall. It'll be very, very safe. And we are also, we have opted in so that Valley Village and Valley Glen and the neighborhood councils there who have been communicative with me, and also Corinne from LASA has been very helpful. And so we have a good relationship with LASA through the homeless count effort, and we're in partnership with Toluca Lake. The neighborhood council president had called me about that, and I told him, helped him understand how to best, good methods that had worked for us in the past to get his community engaged and his board engaged. So we're working with like 4 neighborhood councils in the surrounding areas, so that's a good thing. Um, in general, across the board, I feel very settled since the redistricting. So I'm clear at who my new county representatives are, who the CD4 representatives are, in regards to some questions by Brandon and a few other people. I've met with the CD4 team multiple times, and I run into them literally on the streets even more times than that, which is kind of an unprecedented thing when I see staff members from the office actually in the encampments in the streets. So that's a good thing. And I'm talking to CD2 because a portion of our city is still under CD2 jurisdiction. So that's happening. And I work with the county and our state representatives regularly. I had sushi with Assemblyman Nazarian talking about some of our state challenges a couple weeks back. And I have a good relationship with him and also his office. So that is all evolving. It's all moving. The main challenge across the board is catchment areas with the tiny homes, meaning that now Studio City was once in CD2, so the tiny home facilities that we had were all for CD2, and now that the majority of Studio City is CD4, for lack of a better phrase, they're just not eligible for CD2 capacity now, is my general understanding and talking to the CD4 folks. So I had a sit down with on Monday with the CD4 folks, and have set up dialogue between Ken Kraft and Hope in the Valley. And so they are going to start having dialogue and how to create more capacity beds or some sort of model like tiny homes in the future. We'll see where that goes. I know that the CD4 group team is working extensively with the NoHo Home Alliance, and even with my experience with the Alliance, they're very good about creating new and innovative ways to create more interim housing and things like that. So that's in the process. So you have Hope in the Valley going, you have the NoHo Home Alliance going to create capacity, which is what we're trying to do. In addition, county capacity beds are, Olive View has created another, I'm not sure how many beds they are, but I'll be going for a tour with that to Jason to get an understanding of who can qualify for those beds, and that's specializing in mental health and possibly substance abuse. So that's a good thing. So those are more and more beds. In regards to additional capacity, we were looking for safe parking. I was confirmed from both CD2 and CD4 that there are no safe parking places in either one of those council districts. So again, I'm talking to the county in regards to seeing what could be found and places that can be located to create safe parking. The board of Studio City, they passed a motion that is, where's that motion? Jeff, you could speak to it. But basically it's looking for designated, it creates designated areas that people can park through permits, and then there'll be additional connections to wraparound services and things like that to get people the help they need. Is that about right, Jeff? You have anything to add?
Yeah, there's people that desire safe parking would get a free pass. They would obtain that from a social services provider, an outreach provider, and then they would be able to park in an approved lot. So that was passed by the board recently. So we'll get that submitted to the council file shortly, I hope, and then the city council will render a decision on that.
And the safe parking effort basically stemmed from a mother had called me about her son, and I mean literally pleading with me on these texts about helping her son. So I got her down to our drop-in program in Studio City, in which one of the representatives, a young dude that's very, very good, was basically doing all the right things to help this person and was getting no response. And that's how I was able to discover there were no safe parking opportunities or options for them. So we're following that particular individual to see how we can find them a place to park in addition to create a program. In addition to that, another what I'm going to call a case study is a gentleman that back at the Park and Ride, I think back in maybe September and October, I was doing some general outreach there, visiting, and he had just gone into rehab, was going into rehab, and he stayed in touch with me for the entire process of rehab, and I talked to him sometimes through messages through the nurse, etc. And then sure enough, the housing didn't come to its fruition for him or a place to stay, so he was back out on the streets. And so I work with the drop-in program there, work with the Catholic Church, and basically through the what we call the Fab Four flyer, the agencies that are in our local area, that's the Catholic Church, the North Hollywood Interfaith Food Pantry, the drop-in program in Studio City, and the Navigation Center of Hope in the Valley, and also St. Matthew's, the main hub for NoHo Home Alliance. If it's Toluca Lake or those border areas, we reference people there. So I tried to get this same individual after he'd fallen out of rehab and started using again, that structural support. Okay, because remember, generally the path is, folks, if someone's in homelessness, they go to services. From services, you get to structure. From structure, you get to stability. And then from stability, you get to sustainability ultimately. And that's what we're generally striving for. So this gentleman, I was able to get him in touch with the not the new team that Brandon referenced on Ventura Boulevard, who I met all of those folks today, Brandon. But there's another gentleman, CD2 is doing something creative where they're taking their volunteer base, and this is really, really needed, and I can tell you this from firsthand experience. This is an advocate that, for example, for this gentleman who I'm referring to, he's got an advocate now, and through those vouchers that Ruth had referred to, that person would basically shadow the individual and basically be a mentor, hopefully give some inspiration and help find incentive programs or anything to get that person to stability, structure, stability, and then ultimately sustainability. Does that make sense? So they're with volunteer base from CD4, they're going to start putting people that are partnered with people with vouchers. So in theory, that's a really, really good move, and I'm a big endorser of that. And I've met I think, I don't know that we had case one, but we're pretty up there with this gentleman that I'm referring to from the Park and Ride. The third case study is a gentleman who I don't like to use people's names and I like to keep discretion, but everyone's pretty well aware of. We've had a pretty violent individual in the Riverwash area, and there's been a number of assaults and misdemeanors and felonies, and this person has been arrested multiple times. So in my relationship with the county representative, I'm trying to follow this gentleman's case so we can figure out how to get him when someone is maybe not well enough to be in prison or too violent for the streets, and where is the mental health to help this person. We have the county is working with me and connecting me with the Department of Mental Health so we can actually shadow this gentleman's case and hopefully make some good out of something that's been pretty hard for the community, and help him in addition to also creating a system of or programming that can help someone that's in that condition or symptom. I've been on the Measure J Reimagine LA coalition. I've served on that, sat on that coalition for over a year. So those are the folks that are doing really good things in regards to reappropriating funding from the county that goes towards reentry, towards affordable housing, and especially the part that excites me is, for example, when there's children that are falling into homelessness or involved in crime, they're getting that those programs out from under the carceral system into their own standalone umbrella. So it's a more nurturing environment for the kids. So we're not replenishing, some of the homeless population that way. So those are the three case studies going on. Again, safe parking, the voucher shadowing, I'm going to call it, making up the program name there, and then the Department of Mental Health. Some good things. I had somebody approach me, a donor that wants to have distribution from Home Depot. So we're talking about a variety of things from masks and gloves, sleeping bags, and things that are for people that are living on the streets. And so I've approached my LASA team, Marta, and spoke to the drop-in program and also the team that Brandon was referring to, and the folks to know that they will have those supplies. I'm getting a list of what they would need the most of, and if that happens, we'll have ongoing distribution to those three programs that are doing the real good outreach work to studios in Studio City and the surrounding areas. That makes sense. I'm going to move to some encampments just to get some updates. Park and Ride was closed back in December. Campo de Fuego is pretty clean there over by the Ralphs. My understanding is the Park and Ride is looking towards the Hollywood Bowl, the county re-owning Park and Ride and basically funding whatever it takes to maintain the Park and Ride. That's not a sure thing, but that's kind of where things are going. Again, I'm just passing you all information. In regards to the Coldwater 101, the state side that was closest to Eddie's Chevron station has been cleaned of a lot of trash. Some of the folks that were staying in that area, I personally, one of the individuals took to the drop-in program, and I know in talking to Stephanie from CD4 about general cases that are under those bridges, I know the statuses, and they are working with those folks in helping them get into interim housing. Got a lot of talk about a pregnant woman that's under there. Same thing. Jeff, you and I have talked to that couple. They're also pretty far along with that case and getting them interim housing. I will tell you that the area that's over on the other side, that's in the state area, that's been prioritized as a priority one. So when people say, you hear, I don't want sweeps, I don't want sweeps. In my world, my understanding of a sweep is basically coming in, there's a bunch of people there, and you basically say, get out of here, and it's wherever you go, it's your problem. Okay, well, a priority one safety category is considered a true sweep because it's a safety hazard. So for example, in that section, there are a lot of, and when I'm speaking, this isn't hearsay, this is what I've experienced weekly. There's carts now, that get up and onto the freeway. So it's basically been prioritized as a priority one. However, again, in talking to the state, the assemblyman and the state office and CD4, again, getting innovative about the things that they're doing, the state is working directly with the city, who generally doesn't help them a lot, and saying, hold on a second, let us get in there. And the same efforts that are trying to do at Fruitland, whether they're we're getting the results we want, are the same efforts that they're doing at the Coldwater encampment before the state comes in there and cleans that area out. Okay. In regards to Fruitland, my understanding in speaking to Karen and Patrick and speaking to the CD4 folks at a sit down yesterday about a lot of matters, one was creating beds for the Fruitland folks, is that I spoke to someone today that in regards to the two vehicles, the van with the burnt and melted front grille, and also the gentleman that has the limo, that folks were out for hours getting the right parts to get at least the limo up and running. That is my understanding. And I heard that firsthand today, and it was just actually hearsay in a conversation that they were out there working with those individuals. My understanding is that I was submitted a gang photo of, as far as a turf sign, and I did report that to the SLO that was recommended to me from CD4, and that SLO did make contact with the gang unit. The gang unit did call me, and the gang unit said they were going to go out and investigate to get to the root cause of some of the things that were described from our callers. So that's as much as I know at this point. And then my understanding is the folks that are remaining, again, I'm just giving information, okay, everyone, that I understand, is that the folks that are there, they're pretty far along in getting them moved into interim housing. Okay, so that is my understanding. All right. And I will be out at Fruitland again on Friday, as I normally am, to answer any further questions and do any other research for the constituents out there, or the homeless folks that need help. Moore Park 101, that is CD2. More on the Friday, there is something that's being done that hasn't been done before. It's a complete concerted effort in which the county and the state and the city together are doing a full triage of that area on that Friday. And prior to that, my understanding, as it was reported to me, was that the services, wraparound services, and the folks doing outreach have been going out there ahead of time to plan on helping those individuals before the city, county, and state go into that area to do whatever cleaning they're deciding. As it was reported to me, they can't share too much information, but there is a plan. And again, it's unprecedented in that all three entities are working together, because we've learned that, with 4118, if you sweep a bunch of people off this way, they're going to go that way, and this, and that. So ultimately, we have to work together to find out to get people. So it's a win-win for everyone involved, housed, unhoused alike, and the law of the land applies to everyone. Okay, Vineland and the 101, I'm not seeing anybody over there, or by the Beverly Garland. It looks like there's some new fencing there, so it looks pretty clean over there to me. So I don't know what to report on that. I'm not sure about South Weddington Park. A few more tents are back there. I reported to CD2 and CD4, and I'm still waiting to hear back from them. And in regards to the Greenway River Wash, we have a great constituent point team from Radford all the way to Coldwater that are basically utilizing our services guide that we've created, and that they're doing the 311, the LA HOP service calls, the Parks and Rec service calls. Basically, with this services guide, it's really user friendly, and that people can register these service calls so that when I am working with some of the elected offices, or these departments, or the neighborhood council is trying to pass legislation, etc., there is an evidentiary base warranting more resources, more labor, more funding, and things like that. So everyone's not just yelling and next dooring and emailing and making phone calls, but we actually have an audit and accountability record for these departments that do those things. Okay, I think that covers it. And then I met those gentlemen, Brandon, that are going on to Ventura Boulevard. They're good guys. They're like me. They're experienced guys. They're not credentialed substance abuse or mental health specialists, but they are resourceful men. And the two that I met, and we had an extensive talk, and they seem very competent, very cool, and they're there to do a job. And my understanding is they're also going to be working with the constituents. So they're there to be a customer service representative to the neighborhood also, which is kind of unprecedented when people are walking around just working the neighborhood. So I thought that was a good thing. All right. And that's all I have for you. We're going to go ahead and move to our next line item here. And this is line item number 5. Jeff, you sent me this where you thought I should read this to the committee. My understanding, Jeff, this has already been passed by the LA City Council.
Yeah, I think they passed it. They passed it on the 1st, I think.
Okay,
So, but we should still provide some input, I think, to the council file.
So we as a committee would still vote to put the community impact statement forward, right?
Correct.
I'm making sure I'm understanding it. All right, and so here it is basically. The Board of Studio City Neighborhood Council supports Council File 21-0002 S195, state funding, Los Angeles County, people experiencing homelessness, mental illness, subacute beds, psychiatric care, Lantrum Petrus Short Act, staff shortage. 1 in 5 unhoused has a diagnosis of serious mental illness in Los Angeles County. There are only 1,700 subacute beds available for psychiatric care, only 1/3 of those necessary for Los Angeles County. California has around 31 billion budget surplus, and more funding should go to mental health. We support the council's resolution supporting legislation or administrative action for the state to allocate funding to allow Los Angeles County to meet the number of beds recommended by mental health experts, 50 per 100,000 residents. This motion is to be submitted as a community impact statement to file council 21-002 S195. So we need to go to, we have public comment on that, right? Okay,
Don't we need to second that real quick and then go to public comment?
Well, come on, Julie, second it.
I'll
I'll
second it.
second.
Okay, okay. Oh, now you're fighting over the second. Okay, so now we need to go to public comment on this motion. Public comment, please, 1 minute. Anybody? Scott Mandel. Hi, Scott.
Hi, Luis. Thank you. I totally support this. Anything that mentions the LPS Act is actually a great start. LPS started in '67 because the state was disappearing people in insane asylums and doing terrible things to them. And back in 2004, don't forget, voters passed Prop 63. I think we're at $20 billion now raised to deal with mental health. The Little Hoover Commission did a report in 2015 documenting the incredible failures and malfeasance and misfeasance of all that money. The mentally ill should not be punished because of that, but keep that in mind when the legislature doesn't act and the voters do a ballot initiative. Over time, it's difficult for the legislature to make tweaks in it. So Prop 63, billions of dollars later, here we are asking for billions of dollars. But I do support this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Hi, Peter. It's nice to see your face and not an email. How are you, sir?
Well, it's nice to see you too.
I'm going to start your time right now. Hold on, and go, sir.
Thank you. Also, just wanted to express my support. I'm for those I haven't met, I'm a resident living next to the LA River, next to the Greenway Trail on the North Bank, and I think the combination of the types of services that are the subject of this motion, plus the dedicated work by Luis and the sort of the resources that he's been able to marshal, plus the efforts of myself and my neighbors, informed by the guide that you referenced, I think is ultimately sort of what I've seen as being a practical solution to some of these issues. So fully supportive of this in the context of broader efforts, and I'm really thankful for what Luis, you and your team have been doing.
You're welcome. Thank you, Peter. I think call-in user 1. I think, is that you, Ruth?
Hi, yeah.
Hi.
I don't think that this is the way forward. The reason it's really hard to 5150 somebody is because it should be. It should not be easy to take away somebody's rights that are guaranteed in the Constitution, and it's not supposed to be easy to take away somebody's rights that, human rights law would agree, like that putting somebody under detention should never really be done in the United States unless it's a really, really, really severe circumstance. I don't think that Vizcaíno is right when he thinks that the reason it's not easier is because there's not enough people to do it, and there's not enough facilities. There's not enough people to do it because people shouldn't do it. It's not ethical. The No Place Like Home that Kevin De Leon had advocated for and passed, I believe that it has billions of dollars tied up because it's supposed to help mentally ill homeless people, but it can't help ones that aren't mentally ill. I don't know why we're differentiating mental health and just regular public health. I mean, health is health. I think that they should be combined and that it should help all homeless people. They say that you have trauma after 60 days of being homeless. So everyone who's homeless basically, has been exposed to trauma over and over again. Why are we holding up the money and the resources? Thank you.
Thanks, Ruth. Thank you. Anyone else? Public comment? A lot of attendance, not a lot of public comment. Okay. I guess it's exciting enough. Okay. I would like to motion to go to vote. Julie, Jeff, who's going to interrupt? I need a second. Come on, you guys.
I think it's a good motion. I'm I'm for it. I don't see anything about 5150 here. It's about services and beds and things like that. And I see it in a positive light and I'd like to support it.
Jeff?
Yeah, we need to support this measure. As you know, when one visits encampments, there are a lot of mentally ill people there, and some people have been there for years, and that's not really fair to them to be in that situation. It's rather inhumane. And there is a state shortage of beds. I think this motion references 50 per 100,000 residents. And I think for the state of California, it's about 17 beds of public beds for mental health available. And for LA County, it's about 22. So we only have about half of what it takes for a humane society to run a system like this. So we definitely need more help out there for the mentally ill. And this will go a long way, I hope, to prod the state to allocate more funding for this very important endeavor. Thanks.
Great. Marcia, let me unmute you. There you go.
No, I was going to say that I completely agree with Julie and Jeff that, and I understand Ruth's point. I think we're all collectively have been going through, sadly, the past couple of years, a collective mental health crisis, even more so. But what's been happening for a lot of folks on the street that we are seeing, and I saw this the other day when I was near Vaughn's, there was clearly someone who was not okay in the middle of the street. And I agree with Jeff that that's also not humane, and this in any way we can to find more humane solutions. And this does not sound like it's associated with like a 5150 hold, is just a pathway forward in this situation.
Okay, great. And what committee member haven't I spoken to yet? Sandy, are you there?
Yes, hi there.
Hi.
So I, as some of you know, I work 1 day a week at the No Ho Home Alliance drop-in, and I've been doing that for about 3 years. And there's a lot of trust that's built by just building relationships with people and having them get to know you and you getting to know them. And so I think beds are great. I also hope that trained resources will become available to work with people to build these relationships, because when I notice when our unhoused guests are on site with us, they're relatively well behaved and relaxed and feel normal in some degree of normal while they're with us. And then when the center closes and they're off back into the neighborhood, you could just see that the anxiety or stress kind of build back up again, and they're kind of, with the boots back on. So I support this measure. I think it's a stepping stone. I hope that more resources will become available for resources to help our unhoused neighbors.
Well, great. I'm going to go ahead and motion to vote, Sandy. And since you're on and you don't have your camera on, I can't see you raise your hand. Yes or no?
Yep.
So
yes, I vote yes.
Vote yes. And then can I get a vote? Julie, Jeff, and Marcia? Yay or
Yes.
nay?
Yes.
That's it. Unanimous. Okay, so that passes. Great. Let's get that going, Jeff. Let's get that going. All right. And we're getting ready to adjourn. Hey, everyone, if you go on the Studio City Neighborhood Council website, eventually we're going to get our services guide up there. I know Ira Gold is working diligently, and I owe him some information to get out to the public as far as what we're trying to do in order to train people on the resources guide. So Ira, I know I owe you that, and I will get that to you. I am out going into the field every Friday. I go in a nice van. It's the same van that I use in my interim youth group position at the church. And so Jeff's been out with me, Julie's been out with me. So we go Friday, we leave at 8. Anyone that wants to come, it takes about 3 hours. And I won't put you in harm's way or anything like that. And just to give kind of a jurisdictional understanding of what's going on and the challenges, it's very enlightening for the people that come. And I think you'll learn more just by those, you know, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Just imagine it's just taking a little bit of a tour. So I'm always available for that. If you go on the website and look on the committee, it's loliart@studiocitync.org. loliart@studiocity.org. And I will respond, and I will answer any questions or research or look in anything I can to help you in regards to connecting you or get you empowered around homelessness. Okay. Thank you. I'm going to motion to adjourn, everybody. And
Luis, Emma Taylor just showed up, so maybe she wants to.
oh, did you, Emma, or did you want to report on something?
I was just here to listen.
Okay. Nice to see you.
Yeah, it was nice to see everyone. Sorry,
Okay.
I hopped on a little late, so I missed the first 5 minutes. But
I didn't
think
say anything bad about the state at all. It was perfect. It was nothing negative at all. It was like, wow. Okay.
No,
I
it's
did
okay.
have sushi with the assemblyman. I did
I
share
heard
that.
I heard
Okay,
that. I was
yeah.
a little jealous.
Okay.
No, I was just on to see everyone tonight. I was coming from a mortgage relief town hall that we had. So
Okay.
if
But
anyone
anyways,
has stuff about mortgage relief, you can call us. Anyway, it's good to see everyone.
okay. And just so everybody knows, everyone's working together. There is a strong sense of urgency. There's a big focus by everybody on Fruitland right now. There's a big focus on Coldwater 101, and we want to get things stabilized so everybody wins in this situation, and we want to get it done quickly. So we'll see you again. I'll be out there Friday, Patrick. I'll check in like I normally do with you and your point team out there. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week, and take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.
Thank you.